Before the Second World War, Warsaw had the second largest Jewish population of any city in the world after New York. There, Jewish culture flourished. This came to an abrupt end with the Nazi occupation in 1939 and the establishment of the Warsaw Ghetto the next year. After the deportations were exposed as cover for extermination, the ghetto became restless. On the eve of Passover, April 19, 1943, exactly 75 years ago, unrest turned to resistance. The Warsaw Ghetto Uprising had begun. The uprising was organized by the left-wing Jewish Combat Organization and the right-wing Jewish Military Union, both formally connected to the Polish Home Army. Against them stood Nazi forces under SS commander Jürgen Stroop, supported by Eastern European auxiliaries. The battle was intense and brutal. Fighting was street to street, house to house, bunker to bunker. The Germans would often opt to burn a building down rather than fight to retake it, killing whomever was inside. In the end, it was a doomed fight, but no one held illusions it would be otherwise. The Germans declared an official end to their campaign on March 16th. Their final act was the detonation of the famed Great Synagogue of Warsaw.
What a marvellous sight it was, a fantastic piece of theatre. My staff and I stood at a distance. I held the electrical device which would detonate all the charges simultaneously. Jesuita called for silence. I glanced over at my brave officers and men, tired and dirty, silhouetted against the glow of the burning buildings. After prolonging the suspense for a moment, I shouted, "Hail Hitler," and pressed the button.
Roughly 13,000 Jews were killed in the uprising. Most of the remaining 50 to 58,000 were sent to Treblinka extermination camp. But it was far from the only act of Jewish resistance. Jewish partisans operated throughout the forests of Eastern Europe, including Ukraine. Escaping to join the partisans was often the best hope of survival. There were also notable uprisings in the Syrets concentration camp in Kiev and at Mizhozh near Rivne. Upon learning of the destruction of the ghetto, a Jewish member of the Polish government in exile, Shmuel Ziegelbaum, killed himself as an act of protest. In his suicide letter, he gave a message that the world must take to heart, even today.
The responsibility for the crime of the murder of the whole Jewish nationality in Poland rests first of all on those who are carrying it out, but indirectly it falls also upon the whole of humanity, on the peoples of the allied nations and their governments, who up to this day have not taken any real steps to halt this crime. By looking on passively upon this murder of defenseless millions, tortured children, women, and men, they have become partners to the responsibility.
Es wird abheugt von unser Trott, wir seinen Gott.